All right, so I want to take a minute and just talk about what it will take to be successful in this class. And not only, what I'm going to share is not only going to help you in this class, but also in life. Because teachers have shared that with me in my life, like, hey Todd, here are some things which are going to help you succeed in this class and in life. And I've validated some of the stuff through my own life experience. And I want to share it with you because my goal as your teacher is for you to succeed in this class. And so I want to take a moment and just reflect upon what are some of the things that students do to help them succeed. And a lot of this stuff might be things we already know, but often it's very good for us to be reminded and hear them. So if you feel like you already have a good handle on this, feel free to skip this video and go to the next one. But I even encourage you right now just to pause this video and reflect upon what do you think it takes to succeed as a student. So right now, just pause the video and reflect on that question. What does it take to succeed as a student? Like, what are some of the principles that you use in your own life to be successful at whatever you do, whether it's being in a class or anything? Pause the video and think about that for a second. All right, did you think about it? So there was this conference of billionaires, and they were all having lunch together. And I don't know if this is an urban legend or if it's true. And they asked all of the billionaires if you could narrow down to one word, like just one thing that helped you be successful more than anything else, figure out what that one word is and write it down. And so they had everybody, all the billionaires, write down that one word on a piece of paper. And so the myth goes, because I don't remember where I heard this or learned it, so it might be urban legend. But so the myth goes that Bill Gates and Warren Buffett wrote down exactly the same word. And that word was focus. And so focus and continuing to work on whatever it is you're doing, that is instrumental and very important to success. Figuring out, okay, here is what I want to accomplish, and I'm going to focus on accomplishing that. And if you think about the power of focus, if you have intention and you put your mind towards something, you say, I'm going to do that thing, come hell or high water, that thing is going to happen, then you have incredible intention and power for accomplishing that thing. And your chances, your odds of succeeding at whatever it is you want to accomplish are so much greater if you focus on it and you have that strong intention, man, come hell or high water, I'm going to achieve that thing. No matter what it is you're doing in your life. You want to get a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a doctorate degree, you want to make it through this class, you want to succeed at a job. If you focus at that and you apply yourself to that, that's going to help increase the probability of that thing happening. And one of the things I think about when I think about the importance of focus is that a laser is nothing more than light that has been focused. So if you took light and you focused it, man, you could take that light and you could burn through steel. And it's the same way in our own lives. If we have a strong enough focus, a strong enough intention on what we want to do, that's going to help us succeed at that thing. Just to give you a personal story from my own life, at one point in my life, I really became interested in spirituality and enlightenment. And I wanted to see if I could realize enlightenment and just go for the biggest goal of all, right? And so I read a whole bunch of spiritual books and listened to different teachers, and I realized that a period of silence and reflection and meditation was an important step for many people who realized enlightenment. And so I chose every day, I devoted myself to meditating an hour every day. Every day for 1 hour I meditated. And if I missed it one day, I would make it up the next. And I did that for 7 years straight. And so that's an example of like really high focus. Like that was a high priority in my life. The number one thing that happens every day is I meditate at least 1 hour every day. If I miss it, I make it up the next day. So having that kind of focus really allows you to move towards some kind of a goal that you want to achieve. I had one teacher in my life who used to say, drop by drop, the bucket gets filled. And so you have to add those drops. Every day, you got to add that drop, add that drop, add that drop. And then, you might start trying to learn a program or start trying to learn a new language. And every day, okay, you work on it an hour, you work on it an hour, you work on it an hour. And after like 3 weeks, you might be like, man, I haven't really gotten anywhere. To use the metaphor, the analogy, you look in your bucket and there's not really much water in that bucket. But if you do it for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, now your bucket's going to be full of water. And all you did is every day you added that drop, you add that drop, you add that drop. So drop by drop, the bucket gets filled. And I really like that phrase, and that's one of the phrases that really stuck with me in my life. I also had another teacher who would say, persistently, and he had this really deep baritone, very calming voice. So I'll say it like he said it, persistently, patiently, you are bound to succeed. And he would just say that sometimes over and over. We'd be there working and you'd hear this persistently, patiently, you are bound to succeed. And you'd hear that and it's just like it got embedded in my head. Hey, I just have to be persistent and patient. I'm going to be bound to succeed. So having that focus, devoting yourself to something, making it a daily practice, it's almost like a spiritual practice, like you're a monk or a Jedi master, right? Where, you know, this is what your craft is, and you devote yourself to it. And every day, half hour, whatever it is, you apply yourself to that thing, and that's how you keep making progress and getting better and better and better. And that's actually what Malcolm Gladwell, he wrote a book called Outliers. And he looked at people like Bill Gates and Michael Jordan, people who are super successful. And he's like, well, were they just born talented or what? And what he found is it takes 10,000 hours to really become good at something, 10,000 hours. So it's like 4 hours a day, every day for 10 years. And if you do that, then you're going to become that Jedi, that master class. You're going to be really good at whatever you're doing. So having focus and, you know, having that persistence. Angela Duckworth did a lot of research on this too, what makes students succeed. You can look up her TED Talk and even her book, Grit, that's the name of it, Angela Duckworth. And she found the same thing. You know, it's just like that daily persistence practice. You don't give up, come hell or high water, I'm making it happen. Another person I really like is Stephen Covey. And Stephen Covey talks about, and these are going to be my words, but he talks about you got to have a goal. You got to move towards that goal every day and don't get distracted. You know, and so it's the same thing. So the same principle for many different people. If you want to be successful, it just takes a daily practice. You got to have that focus and that dedication, and you keep working on it, and you're eventually going to get there. You don't give up. Don't give up, right? You just keep going. You just don't give up. And you have to enjoy what you're doing and find the joy in it. At one point in my life, I realized that, you know, hey, I wasn't born into the royal class. I used to sort of begrudge work, you know, like, I just want to go to the lake, just want to go to the mountains, just want to go to the beach, I just want to travel, got to work. I waited tables, washed dishes in restaurants. I used to begrudge work and wish I was like the royal class or something. I could just lead this life of leisure traveling around. And, you know, the hard realities of life taught me otherwise. And I wasn't born into that situation. A very small percentage of people are, but I wasn't one of them. And so at a certain point in my life, I kind of like accepted that I'm the working class. And I've got a yoke around my shoulders. So I could either hate the fact that every day I have to go out and plow the fields, or I could just be like, hey, this is awesome. I'm with my friends. You know, I'm outside, sun's shining, the dirt feels good on my feet, I'm getting some exercise, moving my body, you know, to just the metaphor or the analogy there. But that's the same thing, you know, like for me it was like devoting myself, coming to a place where my mind was like, I enjoy my work, I enjoy devoting myself to something and working towards it every day. And that's actually what gives me a lot of personal satisfaction, is just to see like, you know, I'm going to keep working and working and working, and then over time it's like, wow, look at how much water's in my bucket. Look at how far I've come. And so those are some of the principles that people have shared with me in my life that have really helped me. And I share those with you so that hopefully they're helpful to you also. And I've included a link in this document here, which I'm going to share with you in the next video, Course Resources. And there's a link to Habits of Effective People, which is the book by Stephen Covey. He wrote 7 Habits of Effective People. And this is a pretty large poster. I actually have it printed out on my wall at home. And these are, again, in my words, but more closely aligned to what Stephen Covey, how he talked about it. But you can see these first 3 principles are be proactive, begin with the end in mind, and put first things first. Be proactive, you got to get out there and you got to work. You got to tend the garden of life. It takes work. If you don't tend the garden of life, you're going to have weeds, you're going to not have a good produce, you know, you're not going to have a good harvest. If you do tend the garden of life, you got to weed it, you got to plant the right seeds. Plant the right seeds. You want me to teach you how to tell the future? You want to know how to tell the future? No? Barnabas doesn't want to know how to tell the future. The way you tell the future, the seeds that you plant today will be the crop you harvest tomorrow. So in the garden of life, if you're tending the garden, you're planting the right seeds, you're pulling out the weeds, you're cultivating that which is good, you're not cultivating that which is not good, right? You're going to have a great harvest. You're going to have a great garden, and that takes effort. You got to be proactive. You got to go out there and you got to work. Get up off the couch, exercise, eat right, study, work, have a good time doing it. And life rewards you. In one philosophy I have is, you know, life takes effort, and the more you put into life, the more it gives back to you. So be proactive. You got to begin with the end in mind. You got to have that goal. You got to know where you're going, and you need to put first things first. Be focused. Don't get distracted, right? If you know you want to program every day for an hour to get good at programming, don't watch TV, right? Like, it's like, oh, you know, you got an hour left before sleep, don't watch that show, do your programming. And if you miss it one day, make it up the next day. You know, so if you have that kind of focus, you're gonna succeed. So here's this poster, and you can see Stephen Covey is saying the same thing. You gotta have a goal, begin with the end in mind, that's your goal. You gotta move towards it, right? Be proactive, takes effort, and then you need to put first things first, and you gotta stay focused, don't get distracted, stay focused on your goal. So the same principles said in different ways by many different people over time, and they've helped me in my life, and I share them, so hopefully they're helpful to you. And that was my big memory dump on it. Do you have anything you want to share, Barnabas?
No, just focus.
Focus. How did for programming for you, like how did it start for you, and how did you get good at it?
It started in high school, and later I just realized that, yeah, I would like to control these computers.
Yeah.
And then started programming nearly every day, and yeah, here I am.
And it took a little bit of time though, right? You weren't instantly good.
Yeah.
And you had those frustrations where you're like, why is this not working?
Oh, there will be every time.
Yeah, that's part of the job.
Yeah.
So, cool. All right, we wish you luck. We're totally in your corner. We're on your side. We're here to help you. We want to see you succeed. And that is the entire purpose of this video, just to give you some information and some skills about what it takes to be successful. And so we're here to help. There's a lot of other students that will be around, you know, in the course to help. You could ask questions. You could go to the Golang forum and ask questions there. And so I don't know if I've mentioned that here, but here's the forum, golangbridge.org. Great place to ask questions. And yeah, we want to see you succeed.
Good luck.
Good luck.